Hello, and welcome to KYNG TV.
Tonight we're going to be looking at the third round of NIC, the first ever Youth Governor Executive Order, and a look at the court system.
Welcome to Why Witness. Today marked day one of competition from the Winter Olympic Games in Vancouver, Canada. Swiss skier Simon Ammann soared away with the first gold medal of competition after winning in the sport of ski jumping. Also, this morning, the luge competition continued after the deadly crash of yesterday. In other news, the NBA All-Star Game will start tip-off from Dallas, Texas at 5 p.m. tomorrow night on TNT.
Today at the governor's rally, there was some controversy about the political parties. Only 4 out of the 5 candidates were answering questions, and Maddie Fishkin, representing the unaffiliated delegates, was standing in the crowd rather than the front and center. The political party role group organized the event and argued that an unaffiliated candidate should not be part of a party-funded rally. Maddie Fishkin supporters were noticeably upset about the rally, but Fishkin is planning to host his own rally without the other candidates. It should be interesting to see how this rally affects voting later today.
In other news, a small plane crashed onto a highway outside of Sacramento near the El Dorado delegation, halting traffic.
Our honorary governor, Oliver Middlestat, also made news today.
He was the first youth governor ever to sign an executive order. Jen reports more.
Thanks, guys. I'm here outside the governor's office, where earlier today, Youth Governor Oliver Middlestat held a press conference to address executive actions that he will be taking. Being governor is not all about fame and fancy suites. Oliver has been hard at work throughout this entire trip, implementing change and making a huge difference in the Youth in Government program. I was lucky enough to attend this press conference and ask Oliver a few questions of my own regarding his plans for election reform, the water crisis, and education reform.
Hello and good evening. I want to share with you tonight some of the things we've been working hard on in the office. My administration and I have been working hard on making history. This is the first time in 62 years that the youth governor has created an executive order, and I'm calling to form 3 panels to address 3 key issues addressing in California. The first one is the water crisis. The second one is education reform, and then the third is the election reform. To address the water crisis, we think it's important that we repair the Sacramento River Delta, one of the largest providers of water in the state of California. We want to repair the levees and create a more efficient way to allocate the water. And to do this, we'll be forming a panel of 15 to 30 delegates from from all the program areas, and we will be making sure that we choose delegates that specialize, know something about water, and will help with this panel. They will be assembling tonight from 5:10 to 6 p.m., and they will be coming up with solutions to this problem. The second one is education reform. We believe that the UC and CSU systems have been faced with tremendous budget cuts, and this has been hurting our educational system in California. So to address this, we want to make sure that there is a competitive nature among the UCs to compete for funds and create a more efficient educational system. And the third one is election reform. We feel that special interests and corporations have too much of a vested interest in our public officials, people who should be representing all the people. And the reason that we've seen so many problems in our politics, I believe, is because we have too much of an influence from corporate interests and not from the people. And when we have corporations allowing to fund elections, the elected officials then kind of have an obligation to suit the needs of those that funded their election and not those that they represent. And so for those 3 key issues, we're going to be forming a panel of 15 to 30 delegates, like I said, tonight to come up with some sort of solution to those issues. And this executive order will go into effect immediately. There will be another meeting tomorrow to kind of wrap things up, and this could carry on to next year, to the 63rd Youth Governor. And so to do that, we have several options. The first one would be creating a panel that would carry on to next year that would meet. I would appoint 5 delegates that are either sophomores or juniors who would then meet at Bob 1, Bob 2, and possibly Sacramento next year. And then the next youth governor would have an opportunity to match that number and appoint another 5 or so delegates. And so then they're going to come up with either a bill before Bob 2 or wait until Sacramento to come up with an initiative. We feel that this is a really great way to reach out to the other program areas, make sure that people have an influence on the executive branch, even if they're from the Board of Education. Obviously, they would be falling under the Education Reform Executive Order, SIP, NIC, all the program areas that can be available. Next, I want to talk to you about some of our priority legislation. Our priorities right now are our taxes and the economy, education, the environment, constitutional issues, and crime and punishment. So I have my 5 cabinet members appointed to each of these issues. They have their lobbyists working for them, making sure that they can go out and push this legislation that we think is necessary. I just wanted to kind of highlight a few that I'm proud of and that we've been working on and lobbying. The first one is Senate Bill 275, which has to do with the 3 strikes policy. This one, I believe, has passed in committee and will be moving on to the Senate. The second one is creating less taxes for startup businesses to create more job opportunities and help our economy. This is Senate Bill 231, which I believe has passed through the committee. The third one is Senate Bill 104. This is allowing physician-assisted suicide, a social liberty that I believe should be out there, and this one I believe has also passed through committee. Fourth one protects minors in court, and this is Senate Bill 202. The fifth one is making it harder for the initiative process. I think something we've all heard about is Proposition 8, and we believe that making the initiative process more difficult would be better for the minorities and making sure that not only the majority is heard, but also the minority who deserve those same civil liberties. And at this point, that kind of wraps up some of the things I wanted to talk about, but I'll open it up to questions that anyone has. Yes?
How do you plan on choosing the delegates for the panel?
So we have been going out and looking at the Senate and NIC, SIP, the Board of Education. We've sent out part of our administration to seek out those delegates that are passionate about these topics, know something about these topics, and who would be willing to attend. And so the way we're advertising it is somewhat of an invitation, and then they'll RSVP. And if that doesn't work, if we need to advertise it more, obviously this is a chance to advertise it as well. So anybody who is interested and who does care about these 3 main issues and would like to attend the panel, I would like you to talk to my cabinet members. The first one is Demi Anter, Paige Parker, Molly McNabb, Nish Budraja, or Chris Pike. Any other questions? About anything? Yes.
How do you think being governor has gone so far? What big changes have you made so far?
I mean, at this point, making big sort of changes need to be planned for before Sacramento. And one of the things that we've been working on a lot, one of my lobbyists, Royce Harner, has been working closely with my chief of staff, Devanshi Patel, to create these executive orders and create these panels. And so that's kind of we wanted to make sure that we involved all the different program areas, and we believe that this is a really great way to do it, something that reflects things that go on in our state legislature and will increase our program and will increase interest. So I'm pretty proud of that. That's very exciting for us and for the delegates chosen, as well as those who would like to talk to those chosen and have their views expressed. Yes?
Which panel do you feel as highest priority in your opinion?
The reason we did 3, I mean, we could have done 10, but these are the top 3. 3 out of 7 that we came up with, and we just figured it was important to tackle and be more specific with our issues. So at this point, I think the 3 of them are very similar. I think education would probably be number 1, the water crisis number 2, and the election. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to put numbers on that. I take that back. That was just kind of the order it was on here. But I think that all 3 of them deserve the light of day. So.